Hi, I'm Andreas with Fuse. I'm a tech evangelist here. This is Chris, one of our developers. We are in our new streaming studio, trying to get our feet wet with streaming.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so we're going to be doing a bunch of different video content, kind of ramping that up now. But this first little test, basically we wanted to do a mini stream. So it's going to be about 5 episodes long. The first one we have pre-recorded because we're just getting the kind of feel for the equipment. The next 3 we're going to be streaming on Twitch, and then we'll be putting them on YouTube and those kind of places afterwards. You'll see us around. But we really would love to, we'd love to have your feedback. We'd love you to come on down and join us for these. And we're going to try and make this a regular thing. So if you can, it'll be great to see you.
Yes.
So yeah, catch you around.
Enjoy. So, Chris, explain yourself.
All right. We're going to start doing some streams because I've worked here for a few years, and what the product is has changed quite a bit while I've been here. And I've been sitting down at the lower levels of things for ages now, and I don't really know how to write UX anymore. So if I did know anything at one point, it's all changed. So the goal is teach me Fusey stuff, and especially UX. I like the JavaScript stuff is like we'll need to touch on.
Sure.
But yeah, we'll do that. That's the plan.
That sounds like a pretty sane thing to do. I mean, it's actually not that uncommon at this company to be working on the deep down sort of internals of something.
Yeah.
And to have the actual user-facing stuff be somewhat of a mystery, different teams and all that.
Totally.
So yeah, I guess you have you even started the studio before?
Yeah, I actually it has changed since last time I looked at even like just this screen. I just did a new example project and stripped everything out of it.
Okay.
So if I just deleted all the code. There still seems to be some assets in here. There's a Fuse logo.
Well, that's okay.
We'll keep that
actually.
around.
Yeah, let's keep that around.
And then again, tools got really sexy since I last saw it, which is cool.
There's been a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. OS
yeah,
X.
I have to actually keep it visible.
Oh yeah, cool. That's there's a button for that, I think.
Cool. Which version of Fuse is this?
Whatever was on the site today.
Cool. So we're at 1.4.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in this release. We're probably going to be doing a second video just going through all the details and all the new stuff. For now, let's just focus on the actual, experience of using Fuse. So you got Visual Studio Code up.
Yep.
That's your preferred editor?
Yeah. I'll kind of explain myself as well. Like I live in Emacs, so it's something I needed something that had those key bindings. Yeah. Also, this really daft setup here is just because I get RSI from those. Did we swear on this stream?
I don't know if we can. Stream?
Okay,
let's try and be proper.
Okay,
at least today.
The Mac keyboards are substandard. Yeah. And they make me scream things my mother would be ashamed of.
Sure.
So yeah, this is me health reasons. But no, this is cool. So we'll go with code and there's a plugin. That's what I got. I think is the right one.
Yeah, the one by Lars Thomas. That's a little bit up. There we go.
That's the one. It's alphabetical.
Extension. Yeah, it's sort of. This is still a thing we're working on quite a bit. I think in the future it's probably going to be sort of our reference plugin. Right now there's still some things that are a little bit ad hoc. Like we've added some stuff from the community, which obviously is amazing. Like the UX syntax highlighting is community driven.
Oh, nice.
Which it's there's a lot of stuff to have a complete Fuse plugin. But I think this is quite good. One of the nicer things about Visual Studio Code, of course, is all the JavaScript support. Like JavaScript debugging support out of the box and so on.
Does that work with that stuff as well?
Yes. It's really, really quite nice.
Again, should I? I already didn't know we have.
Yeah, it's really good stuff.
And already swearing. That didn't take long. That lasted about, half a minute before I just lost control?
I don't honestly think there's any way we can rope that in. I'm living in terror over here, like knowing some garbage is going to fall out of my face. Anywho, let's look at your project layout.
Okay, what have we got?
Top left button, yeah.
There we go.
So you have your SUP, project. This is sort of the default thing. I mean, if you make an example project in Fuse and you strip everything out, a Fuse project is really just a marker file, like you can see here, like your .uni project. It's really just a place the studio looks at.
This layer, this bit I know, like from all
you
the
built part of this, so
I won't say that, but
how this works.
But the Uno side is very familiar.
Let's not
like
talk
everything
about
in
it
there.
today.
I know.
Let's not talk about any of that boring.
But yeah, that should be
Uno
enough to
stuff.
get us going for a while.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So already you have an app. Congratulations, your app's store ready.
Man, I love apps.
You're now an app developer, Chris.
That's cool. One whole app.
Yes,
Let's,
exactly one app. And of course, I guess I can ask you from a really high level, like, what is your understanding of UX markup?
declarative language for doing visual stuff.
Yeah, XML-based declarative look and feel.
Yep.
Is how I would put it.
Curvy.
And your entry point, this is why it's called main view. Like Fuse UX is all about the view component, right? Mm-hmm. So your main view.ux, that's the visual entry point into your application. So a little bit of like grognardy programming stuff there. The main view, I don't know if there's any such like concept in the rest of the world, but that's ours anyway.
Yep.
And that gives you this app tag by default.
Sweet.
And again, anything.
And so like, yeah, every app is going to have one of those. You never have more than those.
You're going to have exactly one of those.
Sweet. Unless, how does that, like, this is jumping around a bit, but Fuse Views has something different, right?
Sure. Fuse Views has a concept of, I guess it's more like creating all these different templates.
Like a library
and instantiating them within a context. That's a different stream, I think. But for all intents and purposes, right now, like you're only concerned with what's inside of the app tag, right? I suppose, like, what's a typical thing you might want to do, right? Like, you want to put some graphics on screen.
Yeah, I think let's just get some basic graphics up and move them around with a button or something like this. Just have some basic transitions or something.
Sure, like Fuse 101.
Because that will touch enough.
Yes. I think we're going to start with, making a visual change, and I would recommend making a rectangle.
Cool. So, I got to look at the right screen.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm going to get lag. So
close that thing out, and you save that, and you're going to see no difference whatsoever because you now have a default empty rectangle with no properties on it.
Cool.
But already it exists in terms of the layout.
This thing exists in the layout. We're not drawing anything. Do we use rectangles? Like, do we put things inside rectangles?
You can put anything inside of pretty much anything in Fuse. Cool. Which is one of the better things, and also maybe a little bit alarming things about Fuse at times. A big part of it is really how quickly you can compose or recompose things, or construct fairly complicated things in these really reusable blocks. In this case, I guess should I be going into a little bit of the layout, how the layout engine works as well?
Let's just do it as we hit it.
Well, in this case, give that rectangle a color. Just
so that's that
capital color, and you can use hexadecimals prefixed with a £.
Let's make it nasty.
Or just a nice and
big old angry
red.
Because nothing says soothing like a massive error warning.
Like, we love those primaries.
Your job is going to be giving me decent colors. Well, yeah, sure. Amongst your jobs.
Eventually, we'll be looking
color
at
choosing will be one of them, yeah.
Sure.
I do not have taste.
Anyway, now we have a rectangle with a defined color.
And it fills everything.
Yes, it fills everything because of the way the layout system resolves itself. So in this case, anything in Fuse either tries to consume as much space as is available to it, or it declares how much space it wants. And those two constraints have to be fulfilled. In this case, the rectangle, for instance.
You're saying it declares how much space it wants? I assume it, like, we put a declaration.
Yeah, you can make it declare what it wants, or it can be given space by its containing layout.
Right.
In this case, it's being given space by its containing layout because we're not asking for anything. It says, okay, I'm a rectangle. I guess I'll just have to infer what my size is, and it looks at the size of the app. We're just going to fill everything.
Sweet.
So if you try doing, just to really mess this up, try putting an alignment on that rectangle, like alignment center, for instance.
Okay. This is such a weird way of typing. Right.
We'll have to get used to it, Chris.
Can I spell? Or is that...
that's correct.
Yep, cool.
And you save that?
Yep, I did.
That's fascinating. Okay.
We got special things going on already. Nice.
That's really cool.
Alignment equals...
Oh, it's just a slow reify, I guess? Yeah,
okay,
fine. Whew. Software, creating software and all that.
Yep.
Anyway,
so builds people.
What actually happened here, though, like the reason it disappeared is because it's now, like, it has to, like, ask itself, how big am I?
Yeah.
How can I center align, right?
Okay.
And since it has no actual size, it just says, okay, well, I guess I'm centered by nothing, which makes it invisible. If you make this thing, give it a width of, say, 25%.
We can just use...
Yes. And that's now going to be a ratio to the containing
I wonder what's going on here.
I mean...
These are all things we'll work out in future streams, but...
Yeah, for sure. We have some slow reify going on here.
Yeah.
So it's slightly frustrating.
I wonder what I've done.
If you hit Command R while in the viewport. That's actually super odd. Okay,
One second, let's just see if...
Try adding a text in there as well.
Oops.
Text, value, hello world, something.
there's anything. Yeah, something.
Okay. Okay, so that's instant. That's freaking fascinating.
Is it because there's no height, so that's going to be infinitely small?
Yes, that might actually be it. Do it within the height of something.
If I just drop this down to the next... Oh, man. That is unsatisfying in all directions. Oh, yeah, a lot of the streamers have been complaining both that this isn't Emacs and also that it's not per Reddit.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Nice,
Here we
cool.
go. Here we go.
We're off.
Sorry about that.
That's cool.
Either way, now we're looking at a thing that knows how big it is, therefore it can be aligned. It cannot align itself without knowing what size it is. That makes sense,
Okay.
right?
So it doesn't just align and it's infinitely small. It just doesn't know how to align, so it gives up.
It's like the result
makes no
is
difference.
undefined.
Yeah.
Shall I say?
But not in a
Anyway.
breaky way.
Cool. Now let's look at some composability. So
Yep.
we have a rectangle with a size to it. We'll take that text up. Don't get rid of it.
All right.
And you're going to move that inside of the rectangle.
Okay. Yep. So let's... Oh, that's not the button I thought it was. Nice. This is why you set up your editor more than 2 minutes before you start using it.
Yeah, this was very...
Like, this was a need. We
Yeah.
needed to make a video now.
Yeah, this is a rapid video development happening here.
Okay, and are we in strange undefined territory, or are we actually... Is
So-
this working?
This is...
Hell! No.
Try central aligning the text as well.
It's just, yeah.
Alignment center.
Oops. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Wow, we have some refi not working the way it should right now. Because if you remove that alignment again now,
Mm-hmm.
save that. See, that's what I expected.
Right, yeah.
So I guess this could be all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
This could be this.
That's not a
This
problem.
could be
I
the
expect,
fact that we're
seeing as
recording.
This is the release. This will have been reported already.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So this is okay.
Yeah. Anyway, give that text a color too. So give it a color of white. Just make it visible.
I have to keep it at hell.
Hell. We're in refi hell. Yes. Boom. There we go. And like center align it again.
All right, yeah.
And you can kind of see now already the text knows to align itself because it has an implicit size based on the actual length of the string and the font size and so on. And
Right.
it knows where to align itself within the rectangle. The rectangle knows its size because it's a ratio of the width and the height of its parent.
Yeah.
You can make those absolute as well.
Can pretty much anything like be this style of tags, like where you have a start and end and shove things inside? Is there anything that can't be shoved inside?
There are certain rules, like some nodes look for a kind of parent. For instance, we have a system of triggers and actions, right? So triggers, for instance, can be placed within anything that's visual on screen, but you cannot place a trigger within an action. An action has no potential to trigger a trigger. If that makes any sense.
Ah.
These are things you'll encounter with like pretty nice error messages while you're working as well.
Sweet, that's
Let's
all
actually, we can actually mess around with that right now. So let's make this thing into a button, right? And I like to say that Fuse is not about instantiating components with existing meaning. It's about giving items meaning through behaviors, right?
Cool,
text.
that's all right.
Oh, veil.
Yeah, I was just seeing
That's-
what the errors would look like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we get a nice underline there as well.
Cool, boom.
Sick. Learning.
Neat.
Right.
So under our text node here,
Yep.
we are going to create a while pressed, and just type while first, and you see all these triggers. This is sort of our first kind of trigger, right?
Mhm.
Like one trigger, a trigger is essentially something that takes place, then plays back a timeline of events.
Okay.
That is the
So it's not just one thing. It can be any number of things. Kind of.
I mean, there are three
Chained together.
primary classes of trigger. You have the while triggers, which are they enable that they play their timeline when a condition is true. You have pulse triggers, which play their timeline once a condition becomes true. And you have animations that are a little bit more involved, and we'll probably get into that at a later stage. But for now, look for while pressed, for instance.
Not like that.
That's not how
Not
you
like
type
this.
pressed. There we
Not
go.
like this.
Close that tag. And anything that happens while this rectangle, and you can tell the relationship here, the while pressed is nested under the rectangle. So while the rectangle is pressed, whatever happens in here is going to become true.
Okay.
Let's try something stupid. Put the text under the while pressed instead. Save that. And now,
Yep. And now we'll see if it actually.
well, if it actually,
There
we
we
go.
go.
I guess we just have to poke it a few
That's
times right
interesting.
now.
Yeah, it's like if when we refocus. But yeah, that makes sense. So, okay,
Yeah,
so
so-
the target of the action. This was an action?
Yes.
Target the action
No, wait, that's a trigger. Sorry.
Sorry, trigger.
That's the trigger.
The trigger is the thing it's inside?
Yes.
Like it's immediate parent?
Yes. You can retarget it to be
Yeah.
something else, but commonly you wouldn't want to because it makes your UX sort of a mess.
So this only affects its immediate parent. It doesn't like
Yes.
flop.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So already now we have something completely meaningless. Which is a great first step.
I'm all about that.
This is wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay, so
I'm gonna make that font size bigger. Is there a font?
yeah, there absolutely is. Make that 32 or something. And of course now, yeah,
yes,
fantastic,
this tiny hellish box.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously this is not a typical thing you want to do, right?
What?
Like,
That's what I make apps for.
Anyway, let's just get that text back up. That text is going to be our button label in this case.
Cool.
And I was trying to say, it was like, Fuse is, like in this case, we're assembling a button from these primitives, right? So we have primitives like rectangle, text, circle, we have shapes, we have images, we have video, and you piece those together and you give them meaning through triggers to, you know, in this case, give it button-like characteristics, right?
Is it too soon to ask what the difference between a trigger and an action is?
Yes.
The action, the thing that...
An action is a timeline that plays back when it's containing, when its container, or wait. When the trigger that contains it starts, or triggers. Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's the
That's
thing.
not good.
The action is the thing that gets triggered.
Yes.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Okay.
In this case, I mean, let's look at an animator. One of the many actions we have. So
Yep.
what I would like to do is
It's in
change. Just make a change. Just open up. Change.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
actually a thing called change. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
And we need a way to be able to target the properties of these things we're working with. We need a way to target the rectangle. We need a way to target the text, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna give them names.
Okay.
Okay. So go up to the rectangle.
Let's do this on the one that's actually
Yep.
responding.
So UX : name.
Cool.
There we go. And we're gonna call it just call it rect, I guess. It's fine. Anything that we can reference.
Is there a convention as far as uppercase, lowercase, all that jazz?
Not for names, no.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a string, so you can name a thing.
Rect.
Yeah, sure. And same with the text. Like make the text UX name just text. Just
I'm only keeping it different from just text because otherwise I'm a simple mind. I'm going to get confused between
do whatever
this
works
text
for you.
and this. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
This text and this rect. Cool.
Nice, cool.
Disarray.
And then in our change,
Oh yeah.
we'll say disrect. You're not gonna get completion for that one. Dot color. And pick another color. Equals
Oh, okay. Come on, otherwise I'm just going to do yellow. You have two. No, it's
yellow. Close that. And now I can try clicking our button.
Oh, this is going to be.
Now it's really nasty.
That is with increasing amounts of hell.
So you can also change the text to black, for instance, in that same trigger.
You can do it in here?
No, you have to make another change
New
animator.
change, yeah. Sweet.
Every change animator operates on one property.
Oh, that's simple enough. Yeah. There's text dot, I guess. Oh no, we're going to do
Just
color
color,
there as
yeah.
well. Yeah, equals.
Black. Nice. And now this is great.
This
This is beautiful.
this is everything you
beautiful
hoped
work.
this stream would be.
Oh. My, oh my. But but honestly though, this is great.
Yeah.
Because now you have a rectangle with a label inside of it, and you've given it a button-like characteristic, right?
Yeah. So we don't have like some prefab button thing. You just make other things buttons.
We do have a sort of a button control that's mostly there to access native controls. So if you want like the sort of native look for a button for Android or iOS, you have that available.
Nice.
But the more common use case for Fuse is to create something that is fully branded, right? That's more like a unique expression for your app or for your brand or for the whatever company you work for. So in this case, we now have a rectangle, and like imagine building an app where this is your button. Every button's going to look like this. Yeah, imagine that.
Let's imagine. Let's take a moment.
But yeah, like in that hypothetical hellish scenario, let's make this rectangle a class. Right?
Okay.
Now we have established that this rectangle is going to behave like a button, so we should give it a name like a button.
So I'm guessing
right?
up here again.
Yes. So give it UX class, and I guess we'll call it just hell button. Right? Save that. And this is going to disappear from our actual display right now because we have created a type definition more so. This is no longer actually part of our layout. It's just a definition, right?
Okay.
And what you would typically do at this point is to create a separate document for this.
Yep.
So you can take that entire rectangle node and...
oh, so we want this. Yeah, make a new file?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just,
let's do that down here.
So new file, it's called hellbutton.ux. Yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah, let's press all the buttons. That's what I wanted.
Why not press the buttons, I say? And stick that in our UX document. Save that. Fixed indentation because we're completely...
key bindings are so good except for that. Never mind.
Well,
that's fine.
Close.
We're getting there.
Cool. Now in our main view, we can make a hell button. Exactly.
Oh, no autocomplete for that yet.
Oh, it comes. It actually performs a build in the background while you're doing this.
Oh,
so
cool.
Autocomplete arrives a little bit late.
Oh, that's fair.
Anyway, cool. Now we're back where we started.
Sweet. Okay, so that's again, we've got ourselves a component.
We have some.
What does? Sorry, this UX class thing is cool, but I don't like. What does being a class mean?
Well, in literal terms, it means you have created a class in Uno, our programming language right now.
But like in UX terms.
In UX terms, you have subclassed rectangle.
Okay.
You have created a variant on rectangle, and any property you actually put on a class can be overridden further down the line. Mm-hmm. So if you want to make a series of different variations on this button, you could just do hell button and then UX class on top of that.
So when I'm using like hell button over in main view, do I imagine that this code is kind of getting injected in that place? Or am I like I'm imagining like one of those whole new instances.
Yeah, yes, you can say that. We actually have a separate system called UX template, which is more about actually sort of instantiating subtrees in different locations. Right. Class is more actually creating a different file that would become like if you're doing a native code from this is becoming like a C++ class that's being instantiated down the line. But yeah, now we have our totally unreusable hell button, because there are a bunch of properties on here that you probably don't want to have by default, right?
All right. Okay.
You don't want the width and the height to always be that.
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
You don't always want this button to be centered aligned, so you can just remove
those. Or the
those.
text to always be hell.
Yes.
Or maybe you do. Yeah, that's
well, in a strange world,
yes.
That is the thing you might want. So if you just get rid of alignment, center, and width and height, because we don't even need the width and the height currently, because we have an implicit size based on the text inside of it. So if you save now.
Yeah, and I guess I have to focus this.
Yeah. See?
That's
so
interesting.
Now we are back sort of a little bit where we started. This button doesn't know what size it is given,
so it
tries to take whatever.
Yeah.
Let's make a list of buttons. And this is one of the more common sort of layout structures. Not a list, but we want to make a stack panel. So a stack panel is a thing that takes every child and tries to stack them either vertically or horizontally. Let's remove our hell button up in there. And to make that possible, the stack panel has to query each child for its size.
Okay.
Right?
And so the text is forcing that vertical size.
Exactly.
But it doesn't know the width seems to be unbounded.
Yes, because the stack panel is trying to consume all the space given to it.
Right, so the stack panel's filling itself.
Yeah.
And then the hell button's getting the width just because... Yeah, I guess it's trying to be...
It's trying to be the size of the text. If you go into the text and add some margin to it...
Well, I was more thinking because the text is the width is only to here, right?
Yes.
So, am I gesturing on the screen? Yes, I am. I've got a bad habit of just pointing. So yeah, like it could... The red could end just outside of hell.
Yes.
So I'm wondering why that's spreading all the way to the edges.
You can fix that very quickly.
No,
to give you an example.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So if you go back into your main view and you try and center align your hell button. So alignment center.
Really?
Slight temper on the autocomplete.
We'll get that.
And you're going to have to poke the thing again. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Don't know why it needs to do that. Is it the always on top that does that?
Maybe.
Could be.
Let's fiddle with that a second. It's worth a...
I have not seen it misbehave like this in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm hoping not using a stupidly old build. That would be funny.
Probably not.
Let's find out. Let's just fusey type things. About fuse. Nope, 1.4.
Looks fine to me.
Current issues.
I guess it's under window and
let's
always on. Nope.
Oops.
Oh, there we go.
Here. Window.
Keep window on top. Boom.
So
okay. Well, hopefully that did it.
So
anyway,
we remove this and let's just see if it responds. There we go.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So it's we got a bug. Report the bug. Not now. We'll do it afterwards.
There's always another bug.
Well, that's cool.
But you saw what happened right there, right? Like the hell button is trying to. I can't. We're talking seriously about the hell button.
Yeah, this is our job.
It's trying to center align itself within the space given to it by the stack panel, and to be able to do that, it has to know its own size, and then it queries its children to see what size they want. It's sort of like this. If you can imagine, it's like it's trying to fulfill all these constraints before it can give a concrete response, right? Yeah. So in this case, it can only center align itself by essentially assigning itself a size. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
Anyway, I guess in this case,
it's interesting those relationships work up and down, like the stack. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Right. That's,
cool. But we would like to make this actually reusable. Yeah. Sorry.
That's fine. I'm just like bugs, man.
That's okay. So okay, cool. We now have a thing that you can press, but whatever place you put it is always going to say hell.
Yes.
That seems
problematic.
Not super valuable. And this is another feature of making a UX class, is that you can give it custom properties.
Right.
And to do that, if you go above text, and this is going to be a string property because we want to actually set this label, right? So it's actually the UNO type. So string, just lowercase s.
Oh, right, okay.
This is one of the things in UX markup that could probably use a little bit of nudging towards user friendliness, but if you're familiar with primitive types like strings, floats, doubles, and so on, that's essentially the name of the node here, right?
Nice. Okay.
And then space UX property.
I guess we're doing this kind of style.
Yes. And this is going to be the name of this property of yours. So label is what I would typically call this. Boom. Just close that tag.
Oh yeah. Whoops.
And now you can go into the value saying hell.
Oops. There we go. We will maintain. Right.
And now we're in data binding territory.
And this is where the funky brackets come in.
Yes.
I have seen
now we have curly brace,
and just label.
You can try that first, but it's not going to work.
Okay.
The thing is, the way data binding works in Fuse is by trying to look for data within what we call the data context. And the data context can be aggregated from parents declaring data. It can come from JavaScript. And it's, whatever data should be available to me here is something I should be able to data bind to. Okay. However, to be able to discern between what a property is and whatever data has bubbled up through the data context, you need to prefix your data binding with the word property. Okay. So in this case, value, curly brace, property, space, label.
Curly brace.
Yeah. So essentially...
Sorry, say that again? Property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Property. Yes. Oops. Space, label.
Boom. And...
Oh, the reload failed. What did I do? What have I done? Problems.
Label this is an outdated error at this point.
Oh, okay.
This is interesting. UX class hell button, UX name, this text value is property. This looks completely fine to me. So I guess we'll just poke at. If you hit Control R within the viewport again.
Oh, Command R or?
Did you save this document just now? Why is Fuse being bad? Why on earth?
Because it's streaming time.
I guess so.
Is this the build? Like, do you use 4.1 when you're doing demos?
Honestly, I've been using the weirdest bleeding edge development builds, and I've not had this kind of problem. So that's fascinating. Does not contain property. It absolutely does. So value is property label, and that's UX property label, and nothing about this is wrong. Okay, well,
let's just remove and add this again. And see
let's
get back to a place where it's working, and then add it back,
and string UX.
Nope, that is a reliable error.
Try to look for any sort of problem here. This is so weird. Try going onto rectangle and setting label to something. So the way you can set the default value for a property is by simply setting it on the containing node. So in this case, label : and equals and hell. Just what we do.
Get the hell back here. Okay. Now let's clear that and save it again so we get a fresh log.
That is really, really odd.
Oh, come on. There we go. This declared in it's not a member of main view and cannot be accessed from hell button. Damn.
That is really fascinating. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Leave that the way it is. Leave that. There's nothing wrong with main view.
Just just want to poke the problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have a theory, and it's terrible. Go to remove the UX name disrect.
Yep.
No, yeah, that too. That's fine. And also the disrect at the top.
Oh, sorry, disrect. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that too. Yes.
I wonder if name and class have some sort of intersection. That's not pleasant. Save that, and then you change disrect to this dot color instead. At the change animator, yeah.
This dot color.
Yes.
Oh, cool. So we can use this in these places as well.
Yeah, but in this case, like that.
Ah.
That okay. So cool. We cannot use class and name within the same thing.
Time.
I learned something new today. That was not a particularly helpful
But what we can do
error,
when we come back next time is we'll find out why that is.
Yes.
And we'll come and give an explanation of that.
There are reasons for all these things.
Yeah, totally. It might be we want to change that reason, but it'd be nice to know.
For sure, for sure. Anyway, cool. We're now back in Sane Town.
Okay. A couple of things that I was seeing.
Two things that happen there immediately. You see your two change animators that both change the color of the rectangle. That's not going to be helpful. You still need a name for the text to be able to reference it.
So we need to get this is UX name stuff again.
Yes,
so.
I tend to put the UX properties at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So UX name, just this text.
This text.
And then it's this text dot color is black. Yeah. Cool. And now we have the same behavior as before.
Cool.
But now we have a property we can set externally. So if you go back to your main view, and you can set label on this hell button to whatever you want. Boom. And now we have something that is more of an actual reusable button.
Cool.
Neat?
Yes. I got a question on just little details. Or at least I just needed to look at this and get a feel for it. So we've got values living inside our things as well. Can the values just live anywhere in here as well? Or is it just on a class? That's where values come in?
A UX property needs a containing UX class to work. These are class properties. If you try doing this in app, for instance, it's going to scream at you.
And does it have to be kind of like top level in the class like this? Or can it be
anywhere you want?
Weird.
No, that's not going to work. It has to be top level in that way, yes.
Cool, nice.
Yes, for sure. It has to be contained by the class node.
Oh, I have to undo now. Let's see. Undo.
What's with yen, Chris?
That's not a thing. Yen. Send me money. Any currency will do. Right. Cool. That's nice.
Roger Dodger. Well,
let's get the log out of the way.
I've learned something new today. I did not think name class would be in conflict like that. Oh well.
Anywho. Okay, so we've got one of these. I guess I can just copy and paste these. And
you can just make a bunch of them, and boom, there you go. And now you can start doing things like go on the stack panel, and if you want to put some item spacing on this to keep them apart.
Okay, so we've got a few things. I've heard alignment and padding.
Alignment, padding, and margin.
And item spacing now as well. Cool.
So let's do something fun, okay? Just give this like 4 or something. Yeah. Something. Boom, now we have a list of things. And you do the stack panel alignment bottom. Try that.
Okay, alignment equals bottom.
Boom. So now those are always going to be at the bottom of the screen. You can try resizing the preview window and get a feel for, how that kind of feels.
Just playing with fire.
Yeah, just mess around with it.
Yeah.
Cool. So now let's say we're making an app and we have this thing and it's going to always be at the bottom because we have 3 whatever buttons at the bottom that do certain things. And one of them close to the thumb, which is nice. Yeah. So now we're using the alignment, and you can sort of imagine how you would partition space here, right?
I just want to clarify something. Stack panel is going to only be this high now, right?
Yeah, it has to be that high because it contains 3 children who have given it their sizes, right?
Yeah, and now we've forced it to the bottom.
Yes.
It actually has enough information to size itself.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yes, and this is working with layouts in Fuse becomes a matter of experience to a certain point. But for the most part, I think it behaves pretty intuitively. In terms of if you ask yourself the same questions, Fuse elements are being asked. It's like, how big is this thing? Like, what information would I need to be able to fulfill this layout task? And then you just have to provide that information.
If I'm in the code document, do we have a way at the moment to highlight what I'm in over in the preview?
Well, if you just it's actually going to be a little bit difficult to see on the stream. If you go on app and set the background to black, just give it like a nice, hideous contrast.
Oh, why am I trying to use that big screen?
Like that. And if you highlight hell button here, just click on it, move the caret to one of these guys. Well,
do we have to be in a special mode over here for that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe that's just not in the VS Code stuff yet.
Yeah, it's possible. We do tend to recommend the Sublime Text or Atom plugins currently. But yeah, typically when you do move the caret around, it should be showing in like a nice blue kind of box around the currently selected item.
Yep.
But
Nice.
you know, we will figure that stuff out and we'll come back to it.
Joe.
Cool. Now to kind of explain a little bit about how the sequence of nodes matter in Fuse, right? We actually have an image included here. You go under assets.
Yeah.
And you have your, I think it's the Fuse logo, like fuselogo.png. Awesome.
Yep.
So we just want that on screen right now. So if you go back into main view, go above the stack panel.
Yeah.
And we make an image. Yes. And
Sweet.
you want the file. And this is going to be a relative path from this document to the file you want.
Okay,
so it's assets fuselogo.png.
Yeah.
And just, oh, gotta close that tag.
Oh. Man, in the language I normally use, the parens are just closed.
Yes. And we have some sort of problem again.
Or does it know what size it needs to be?
Yes, because it's implicit from the image.
Ah, okay.
So that's fascinating. If you just look at the log, I'm really curious about what that might possibly be.
There's actually an error down there.
Oh, that's when we just closed that tag, though. We have some odd reify problems today.
Yeah.
I typically poke at it with Command R or Control R to like force a reload. That did not seem to do anything at all.
The log is...
Oh, we are fools, Chris. That is a white picture on a white background. This is a late Monday thing, and yeah.
I have an excuse. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You have no excuse.
I have no excuse. Really.
Awesome, right? So let's we're not gonna get that ugly ass background back again.
Just make it gray. Yeah, that's good. And you gotta poke at it with your mighty finger. Oh, sorry, it needs an alpha channel if you do it in the background. So put an F at the back there.
I suppose I could just say gray.
Yeah, or with an A because we're Americans.
Oh yeah, Grat. The color Grat. My
Boom,
favorite
there we
color.
go.
Oh, look at that, a picture and shit.
Fantastic. And now if you try scaling the preview around again like you did earlier, you kind of get a feel for how Fuse is trying to like place this image, how it's trying to stretch it and make it work, right?
Okay.
So it looks at the minimum required space this image has.
Yeah.
And it just tries to fit it into the rectangle as best possible.
So yeah,
that's pretty neat.
It's actually kind of sensible.
Yeah, it is. But if you move the if you move it up to where the hell buttons are on top of the logo, that's odd, right?
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
But why would you think that's odd? Like why is the Fuse logo on top?
Well, to be
of
fair,
those?
like this, it kind of makes sense from the fact that it's like it's sitting in the app. So if it's trying to fill its whole size, then it would fill the whole view.
Sure, but in terms of compositing, why is the image on top of the stack panel?
Oh, I hadn't thought that.
Because of the sequence of nodes.
Okay.
So if you move the image at the bottom here, boom, there you go.
Oh shit, I did that.
It's like one of the few areas where the sequence actually matters in Fuse.
Okay.
We try to make it that sort of stuff because you can imagine like wrangling like Z depth and stuff like that. You can still do that by actually setting the Z offset on each individual node. You don't want to manage that stuff when you're just working. So being able to quickly move these things around until the compositing makes sense.
Yep.
Is
so if it's in the top in the code, it's in the top in the...
Exactly.
Cool.
We like to think of this almost like mirroring how layers work in something like Photoshop. Okay, cool.
Nice.
Now, let's do something a little bit more complicated than this.
Yeah.
Because this is now completely stupid.
I'm still at the point where I've got coder graphics, and I could do this kind of stuff.
There is always going to be a step where you have coder graphics.
Yes, that's true, I suppose.
At least we have a logo. Okay, so... Now we're using alignment to keep the stack panel at the bottom, but what if we want the stack panel to consume a certain amount of space from the screen, right? Which again influences the space given to the image to perform its layout, like actually subdividing this display intuitively. And Fuse has this kind of incredible layout structure called a dock panel.
All right.
So we're going to make a dock panel on the top level.
Let's go over here. Right. Dock panel.
Just contain everything within that.
Yep, and trying to get used to these key buttons. No, not like this.
Cool, save that. Shouldn't see much of a difference.
Nope.
But now we have a layout context where we can tell. Okay, let's just.
So it has no immediate visual effect, but we've got
because it lacks the containing elements lack the properties the dock panel needs to inform its own layout. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell the stack panel instead of alignment bottom, tell it to dock to bottom.
Okay.
So just dock equals bottom. Save that.
Yep.
And something happened, right?
Yes.
So what happens now, the way the dock panel kind of looks, yep.
Ah,
See?
nice.
So the dock panel tries to dock things to where they would like to be, and it looks at the remaining space. And you can dock that to a special mode called fill, which is like, hey, whatever's remaining, give it to me, you know?
Sweet.
So in this case, the image...
is fill implicit?
The fill becomes implicit if there is no definition. So it says like, okay, so I've docked everything else. I don't have a dock setting on me, so I'm just going to take the fill one.
Nice. How does it resolve? Like, okay, so the stack panel wants a certain amount of space, but it's like, I don't know how I want to say this. It's lower down in the dock panel. Like, does that have an effect?
That does not have any effect.
Okay.
The order is only compositing.
Yeah. So all members of the dock panel have equal rights to the space, and it's just going to organize it based on... Okay.
But typically you don't dock several things to the same location.
Right.
But this is sort of... I mean, we can do more things here. If you take the image and you dock it to the top...
Yeah. Wow.
Like that. Yeah, boom. Gotta keep poking it. So now you can imagine like the fuse logo takes its rectangle and it consumes that. The stack panel takes its rectangle, it consumes that. And if you add a new rectangle in this list, in the dock panel, just anywhere in there. Give it a horrible color like we do today. Sure. And that's going to consume the remainder.
Gotcha.
And in this way, again, if you scale the viewport around, you get a feel for how that kind of behaves. It becomes a pretty nice way to partition space in your app, right?
Yeah, that's...
Of course, there are, problems like this where there's literally no space to be given.
Because, like, there is... Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. If it can just grab as much as it's given, if you wanted that, you would tell it a minimum size, I guess.
Yeah, you can... That's the thing, too. You can put further constraints on this. So in case... Like, if you scale this really far out to the side, you make this almost like a horizontal aspect ratio. Like a landscape. The fuse logo becomes huge, right?
Yeah. That's
a problem. What we can do is give the fuse logo a max height.
Okay. Nice.
So if you go into the image, give it a max height of something like, I don't know, 80. Some completely arbitrary value.
I guess we have corresponding min height and stuff like that.
Yes,
as well.
we do.
Oh, that's just...
So now that is going to pretty much stay the same.
Sick.
And using the dock panels and stack panels in this way, I feel like the dock panel in particular is incredibly powerful. It becomes really easy to bolt together sort of dynamic UI layouts that behave in a predictable way.
That's cool.
So you can dock to left, right, top, bottom. Can't remember if you can do corners. I don't know why you would want to do corners. But yeah, dock panel is pretty good. Boom.
Huh. Let's try top left, just see what happens.
Yeah, no go away.
That's fine.
That
makes sense though.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, it's like, it's... Yeah, as long as it's predictable. These are like one of the... assigning this kind of space is a tricky problem anyway. So as long as it...
Sure.
Yeah, that works for me.
But this is... I feel like a lot of modern sort of UI design becomes about anticipating something you cannot anticipate, right?
Yeah.
There are
like device size and rotation.
Especially in the Android realm, that's always been true. Like designing UIs for different device aspects and dimensions has always been sort of a pain. So being able to have this UI that's declarative and it's all based around satisfying constraints in what I feel is a very intuitive way, it just makes it quite easy. I feel to put together the more like common things you need.
Yeah. Like the little stuff I looked at of Apple's own layout system just seemed terrifying. That was
it's a
like,
good idea.
Not as a UI guy, but like it was just put braces on everything until it kind of stabilizes. Or
I personally I found that also, even as a designer, it's a little bit alarming. Like how much awareness you need to have of the system and its rules. Whereas with Fuse, it's well, I think it's pretty intuitive.
Cool. I guess we'll get to see as we throw more stuff at it, just how it handles it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Neat. So
we got some ugly ass buttons.
Yep.
And some layouts. And right. So is this a place where like we've made a component, all that kind of jazz? Maybe this is a place to call it a stream.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we kick off from here tomorrow?
Yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to start looking at how we can further compose this. We'll be looking at how we can make those buttons actually do different things. Maybe generate them from a little bit of JavaScript.
Cool.
And we'll see if we can do some navigation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds good, actually. Oh, yeah, we're going to have some pages and...
Yeah, let's make an actual app, not just
some
stuff.
Not just hell buttons. Yeah, so I guess...
guess that's it.
Like, at the moment, we're just, like, as this will be up on, I guess, YouTube or something, and we're just recording this. We'll probably start streaming this at some point. We want to give that a try. Like, as you can see, everything's kind of rough and ready at the moment. We were going to be experimenting with a bunch of stuff. We'd like to have you in the corner of the stream or on a separate screen so we can see what you're saying and deal with questions as well. Like, we're going to work this out. So yell in the comments and all that kind of stuff. Let us know what you want, and we'll keep playing and hopefully teach me something over time.
Hopefully get somewhere interesting.
So now we've got to go and lean over and press the stop buttons in a really unprofessional way.
It's so hard. Oh my god.
This will be in the edit.